Imagine holding a tiny seed in your hand. It looks ordinary, maybe even worthless. You could lose it in the folds of your palm and never notice. But within that small, fragile shell lies a forest. Inside it sleeps an entire world of growth, shade, and abundance, waiting for nothing more than time, patience, and care. The market, my friend, is no different. Every trade you take, every disciplined decision you make, is a seed. Some traders throw their seeds wildly into the wind, hoping something will sprout overnight. Others plant, water, and wait, knowing the harvest belongs to the patient. Now, let's be honest. Most new traders don't want to plant anything. They want to pick fruit the same day they buy the soil. They come in chasing fireworks, not seasons. They see screenshots of traders turning a few $100s into tens of thousands, and they think, why not me? They scroll through endless videos promising secret indicators, magic strategies, or quick money plays. But deep down, you and I know the truth. Real growth never looks exciting. It looks boring, slow, repetitive. Just like watering a seed in dry soil, day after day, before you see even a hint of green. Here's where most traders fall apart. They treat trading like a slot machine, not a garden. They want instant results, instant gratification, instant proof that they're special. But the market isn't here to feed your ego. It's here to test your patience. It rewards those who can delay gratification, who can wait through droughts without digging up their seeds just to check if they're growing. The get-rich-quick fantasy is the poison that kills most traders before they even begin to understand what they're doing. You know the fantasy: doubling your account overnight, catching one perfect move, quitting your job in 6 months. Everyone who starts trading dreams of that, and that dream is exactly what the market feeds on. It uses your greed against you. Every impulsive trade, every oversized position, every revenge entry is just another way of saying, I don't trust my seeds. I want fruit now. And every time you chase fruit before the roots are ready, you rip out your own progress. But the traders who truly win, the ones who quietly build wealth while others burn out, they think differently. They think like farmers. They understand that compounding isn't just a financial principle, it's a mindset. They don't plant 100 seeds and expect all 100 to grow. They know half will die, a few will sprout, and only a handful will become trees. But that handful, that's enough to feed them for life. There's a story I love about an old trader named Richard Dennis. Back in the 1980s, he was known as the Prince of the Pit. He made hundreds of millions of dollars trading commodities. But the fascinating part isn't his wealth. It's what he believed. He thought trading could be taught, that success wasn't magic but method. So he trained a group of random people, teachers, guards, secretaries, and called them the turtle traders. Why turtles? Because turtles are slow, steady, and patient. He told them, trading is not about predicting the market. It's about following rules, managing risk, and letting time do its work. Within a few years, many of those students became millionaires. Not because they were lucky, but because they planted the right seeds and gave them time to grow. And that's the essence of the compounding mindset. It's the belief that small, consistent actions create enormous results over time. You see, everyone wants the fruit, but very few are willing to tend the soil. Most traders focus on outcomes, profit, losses, charts, while the winners focus on process. They water the process daily. They protect their capital like a gardener protects roots from frost. They don't dig up their trades too soon. They trust that if they show up, day after day, the roots will take hold. Here's the real secret. The seed doesn't care about your impatience. You can stare at it all day, scream at it, or beg it to grow faster, and it won't move an inch. The soil responds only to consistency. The same applies to your trading. You can't rush experience. You can't force compounding. You can only build the right habits and let time amplify them. Every rule you follow, every loss you accept with discipline, every day you don't overtrade. That's water, that's sunlight, that's growth happening underground. Now I want you to do something simple tonight. 3 small rules. Think of them as your first drops of water. Rule 1. Risk no more than 2% of your account on any single trade. Rule 2. Never take a trade you don't understand fully. No guesswork, no chasing. Rule 3. Journal every trade, entry, exit, reason, and emotion. That's it. Those 3 rules sound small, even trivial. But so does a seed before it becomes a tree. You might think discipline is boring. It is. You might think waiting for good setups feels like doing nothing. It does. But boredom is where most traders lose themselves. And where real traders are born. Because boredom, patience, and repetition are the true fertilizers of success. Every time you resist an impulse, Every time you don't trade out of emotion, you're strengthening your roots. Stay with me, because at the 2-minute mark, I'll show you the one rule that ends revenge trading forever. But before that, let's talk about the emotional storm every trader faces. Imagine planting your seeds, watering them every day, doing everything right, and then a storm hits. The market drops, wipes out weeks of growth, and suddenly, fear takes over. That's when the weak traders start digging. They panic, uproot everything, and start again somewhere else. But the strong ones, they stand still. They protect their roots and wait for the storm to pass. They understand that storms don't destroy the soil, they feed it. Every loss, every drawdown, every mistake is compost for your next season. Let me tell you about a trader named Daniel. He started small, or 500 in his first account, blew it up in 2 months, then furned thousands and gone again. Same story, different setups. Each time he said, "Next time I'll be smarter." But he wasn't, until one day, he changed his approach completely. Instead of chasing wins, he decided to master one pattern, one setup. He told himself, "I'm not trading for money anymore. I'm trading for growth." That decision, that shift from greed to patience, changed everything. It took him months before he saw real profits. But once he did, they stayed. Because now his roots were deep. He learned that you don't grow by trading more. You grow by trading better. Here's that rule I promised. The one that ends revenge trading. Ready? Never trade to make back what you lost. Trade only to execute your plan perfectly. If your last trade was a loss, fine. Your goal isn't recovery, it's precision. The market doesn't owe you balance. But it rewards those who stay in sync with their system. That's how you break the revenge cycle forever. Think of it this way. If you lost a crop to frost, you wouldn't scream at the soil. You'd plant again next season. You'd learn. You'd adapt. You'd protect the next batch better. That's how traders become masters. Through repetition, adaptation, and patience. The market is not your enemy, it's your mirror. It reflects your impatience, your fear, your greed. And the moment you understand that, everything changes. You stop trying to conquer it and start learning from it. Let me tell you something most people won't. Trading mastery isn't about intelligence. It's about temperament. The calm trader with a simple plan will always beat the genius who can't control his emotions. Because the seed doesn't care how smart you are. It only responds to consistency. Intelligence is fertilizer, but patience is sunlight. Without sunlight, nothing grows. So when you wake up tomorrow and see your charts, remember this. Your goal is not to predict the market. Your goal is to execute your system with discipline, the way a farmer waters his crops regardless of weather. You don't skip a day because the sun's too hot or the rain's too heavy. You show up anyway. You follow your plan. You trust your process. When you treat your trading system like a living thing, something that needs time, care, and routine, it starts to give back in ways you can't imagine. The problem is, most traders don't build systems, they build hopes. They plant seeds in thin air, then wonder why nothing grows. They keep changing strategies, changing brokers, changing time frames. Every time they see someone else's better soil, they move. But the soil isn't the problem, the gardener is. Because no strategy will work if you don't give it time to mature. The market doesn't reward the smartest trader in the room. It rewards the most consistent one. The one who stays when everyone else quits. The one who plants even when the forecast says drought. That's what compounding really means. Staying long enough for small gains to turn into momentum. For time to magnify your discipline. Let's talk about that. Large time. Every trader knows the phrase, time in the market beats timing the market. But very few live by it. They understand it intellectually, yet emotionally they still want control. They want to outsmart the soil. They want to skip the waiting phase, skip the learning phase, skip the lonely months of doubt where nothing seems to be working. But the truth is, those slow months are where the roots are growing. Those boring, frustrating, uncertain seasons are where you build everything that will carry you later. You can't see roots. You can't measure them daily. You don't post them on Instagram. But roots are what hold the tree through storms. That's your foundation, your risk control, your emotional discipline, your review process. Every trade that goes wrong but gets logged instead of raged at, that's a root. Every day you sit on your hands and don't chase a move. That's a root. Every loss you take calmly instead of doubling your size out of pride. That's another root. They don't show up on your account balance right away. But when the storm comes, those roots are what keep you alive. Most traders never get there. They burn out long before they see the roots pay off. They want instant shade from a seed that's just been planted. They forget that no great tree ever grew in a week. It's the same in trading. The results come long after the work. You can't microwave mastery. You can't shortcut time. You can only compound your patience until it becomes habit. Think about how compound interest works. It's invisible at first. A few pennies here, a few there. It feels like nothing's happening, until it suddenly is. Then, out of nowhere, you wake up one day and realize that the curve has turned exponential. That's the same curve your trading follows if you let it. The small, boring wins, the careful entries, the tiny daily improvements. They all stack. But only if you stay in the game long enough for compounding to show its power. That's what the seed mindset teaches you. You can't demand the harvest before the season's done. You can only tend your soil. You can only protect what you've planted. And here's something most traders don't understand. Sometimes, doing nothing is part of the process. Farmers don't water during storms. They wait. They observe. They protect. There's wisdom in stillness. The seed grows in silence. The market rewards silence. 2. The kind of silence that comes from a trader who isn't shaken by noise. The one who doesn't panic when everyone else screams about the crash. The one who knows, I've been here before. My roots can handle this. That's the kind of confidence you can't fake. It only comes from time in the soil. There's a story from a trader I coached years ago. His name was Rehan. He had every reason to quit. 3 years of losses, mounting frustration, endless doubt. He told me, maybe I'm just not meant for this. But then he said something that stuck with me. I've planted too much to walk away now. That was the turning point, because from that day, he stopped focusing on profit. He focused on process. He didn't care about daily results anymore, only about perfect execution. 3 months later, he had his first profitable quarter. 6 months later, his account doubled. Not because he changed his system, but because he changed his mindset. He stopped forcing growth and started allowing it. And that's the paradox of trading. You grow fastest when you stop trying to grow fast. You profit most when you stop chasing profit. You find consistency the moment you stop needing it today. That's the compounding paradox. The more you chase the fruit, the further you get from the roots. Now let's go deeper. The seed doesn't just need time, it needs the right environment. Soil, sunlight, and protection. Your trading environment is no different. It's your routine, your workspace, your mindset before every trade. Ask yourself, what's the environment you're planting your seeds in? Is it noisy, distracted, emotional? Because no matter how good your system is, a poor environment will choke it. Create a routine. Wake up and review the market calmly. Check your watch list. Review your risk per trade. Visualize your perfect execution. Just 5 minutes of mental preparation can save you from 5 hours of emotional chaos later. That's sunlight for your seeds. Focus and consistency. Then there's protection. A gardener protects their plants from pests, from weeds, from whatever can destroy growth. For a trader, your weeds are impatience, greed, and ego. They sneak in quietly and slowly drain your focus. The moment you think you've mastered them, they grow back. So pull them out daily. Stay humble. Never think you've figured it out. The market humbles those who think they've graduated. Here's something to remember. Your trading account is a reflection of your discipline, not your intelligence. Every dollar in profit is a vote for your patience. Every unnecessary loss is proof of ego. You can't fake discipline. The market sees right through pretense. That's why it's the greatest teacher, brutally honest, but fair. You can't cheat compounding. You can't trick the soil into growing faster. But you can ruin it easily, by overwatering, by impatience, by not letting it rest. Some days, the best trade you'll ever take is no trade at all. Some days, you need to let the soil breathe. That's the rhythm you must learn to trust. Just like nature. Seasons of growth, seasons of rest. The market moves the same way. You'll have seasons of profit and seasons of reflection. Don't curse the slow seasons, use them. That's when you refine your system, replant your energy, review your journal. Because when the next season of opportunity comes, you'll be ready. There's one thing I want to make crystal clear. Trading success doesn't happen because of one big win. It happens because of thousands of small, boring wins that no one sees. It's the invisible work, the late-night reviews, the restraint, the patience, that compounds quietly. You might not feel it daily, but every disciplined decision adds another ring to your trading tree. Now, imagine 5 years from now, you, sitting at your desk, looking at your trading screen, calm, composed, profitable, not because you found a magic system, but because you built one inside yourself. Every click of your mouse is now backed by experience, by roots that go deep. You don't panic when the market moves against you. You don't celebrate too early when it moves in your favor. You just observe, execute, and adapt. That's mastery. That's what real traders look like. And here's the beautiful part. Once you reach that stage, trading stops being about money. It becomes about peace, freedom, control. The same calm that once felt boring becomes the thing you crave most. Because you've realized that the harvest was never just profit, it was who you became while waiting for it. So you've learned to water your seed, to guard it, to wait. But here's where most traders fail. They forget that even the healthiest seed faces storms. There will be droughts. There will be days the soil cracks and you'll think, it's gone. Everything I built is gone. But no. It's just testing whether your roots run deep enough to survive. The market does the same. It punishes impatience. It crushes shallow roots. Those who only planted for quick shade instead of real growth. If your goal is to see fruit overnight, you'll keep replanting and never harvest anything. But if you're willing to let the roots grow first, unseen, you'll be the one still standing when others quit. I remember a trader I mentored years ago. He was brilliant, quick learner, sharp analysis. But every time his trade went against him, he'd double down. He thought patience meant holding through pain. It's not. Patience is holding your discipline, not your losses. I told him once, your seed's fine. Stop digging it up to check if it's growing. He laughed, but he didn't listen. A few weeks later, he blew half his account on revenge trades. He said, I just wanted to make back what I lost. I said, that's what every farmer says before he floods his field. The truth is, you can't force growth. You can only create conditions where growth becomes inevitable. That means daily habits, not big wins. It's logging every trade, even the ugly ones. It's checking your risk ratio before you check your profits. It's reviewing your week instead of refreshing your P&L. Those tiny steps look like nothing, but over time, they compound like rainfall. You start to see patterns. You make fewer emotional trades. You stop needing adrenaline to feel like you're progressing. You start trusting the soil. Here's something no one tells you: boredom is a sign you're finally doing it right. When the market feels dull, when every day looks the same, that's the season roots are growing. You're not meant to feel excitement every hour. You're meant to feel steady. Farmers don't scream every time it rains. They just nod and go back to work. That's what professional traders do. They treat every session like another day of watering. The thrill seekers burn out. The plan followers build empires quietly. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who planted two seeds side by side. One he watered daily, spoke to, protected from wind. The other he ignored, said he'd get back to it later. Months passed. The first grew strong, deep green leaves reaching toward the sun. The second, nothing but dust. When asked why one lived and the other didn't, he said, maybe the seed was bad. But it wasn't. The difference was attention. Consistency. The same rules that grow trees grow accounts. You can't skip days and expect fruit. This is where your compounding mindset truly begins to work. You stop focusing on individual trades and start focusing on systems. You realize one losing day doesn't matter if you're following process. You learn to measure growth in discipline, not dollars. Because discipline compounds faster than money ever can. You stick to stop losses. You wait for confirmations. You risk small, not because you're scared, but because you respect the soil you're working with. Now, let's talk about the emotional part. The waiting. This is the phase that breaks most people. Waiting feels like failure because there's nothing visible happening. But remember, this growth starts underground. Every tiny win, every lesson, every journal entry, it's all energy going into unseen roots. You're building stability. The day your growth finally breaks the surface, everyone else will call it luck. But you'll know better. You'll remember the silent months, the early mornings, the times you didn't quit. That's the real compounding, the emotional one. When you stop chasing outcomes, the market stops owning you. You stop flinching at every candle. You stop whispering prayers to charts. You stop needing validation from numbers that flicker. You start living like a grower, patient, grounded, focused, and one day, when your small account becomes something bigger, you won't even celebrate. You'll just smile, because you'll know this was never about getting rich quick. It was about becoming the kind of person who could handle wealth when it arrived. Now, remember that promise. Stay until 200, and I'll show you the rule that ends revenge trading. Here it is. It's simple, gars. Never water your seed with anger. Gars, that means never trading to fix a feeling. Never entering a position to erase a mistake. Never trying to punish the market, because the market doesn't care about your feelings. Every time you act from emotion, you pour poison into your soil. It doesn't kill you right away, but it weakens your roots. And weak roots can't survive storms. You can't grow strong if you're always reacting. You grow by responding, calmly, consistently, deliberately. So what do you do instead? When you feel that urge to chase to win it back, stop, step away, close the chart, go outside. Touch something real. The soil, the air, the world that isn't numbers. Remind yourself why you planted this seed in the first place. You didn't start trading to prove anything. You started because you wanted freedom. That freedom doesn't come from winning a single trade. It comes from mastering yourself. Let's make it practical again. Here are 3 rules you can follow tonight. 1 sentence each. Rule 1: never risk more than what lets you sleep peacefully. Rule 2: end every session by journaling 1 lesson, not 1 profit. Rule 3: treat every trade as practice for the next one, not a test of your worth. Follow these for 30 days, and you'll see something powerful. Not in your balance, but in your behavior. That's where compounding begins. You're learning to be patient in a world that worships speed. You're learning to think in seasons, not seconds. Every small, disciplined act is another drop of water. And here's the twist. You'll start noticing growth, not when you're trying to grow, but when you're finally content to wait. That's when compounding turns from a concept into a reality.